Think about what if college is not the right opportunity for you, your son, your daughter. So we have teenagers and they're looking at all the options of what to do after high school, or maybe at the end of high school, or sometime, maybe a couple of years after high school. And college seems to be the default answer for our society. But what if that's not really a good fit? Maybe that's not what they are wanting to do. What do you do about that? So first of all, think back to us as parents. What are our unspoken concerns, or maybe they're sometimes spoken concerns? Um, we are oftentimes worried about, hey, is what are they going to do for a living? How will they earn an income? But also we sense that not every college student wants to go to college or is a fit for college. So let's think about the real reasons that we're pushing for that. And so I'm just kind of I will just be frank here based on things I hear from so many families, and also looking at my view from where I spend a lot of time helping corporate professionals who are parents themselves. Most of us push for college because it feels safe. For many of us, it's what we did. And even if we didn't, we felt like oftentimes we should have. It's the default. It's what we're told to do in society. It's what the strong marketing engine tells us to do, and that strong marketing engine is us at the university. Um, we we don't want our kids to struggle, right? And we think this is the answer. But here's what I've noticed working with many families, many adults, working professionals. Many parents are urging their kids to go to college. The same parents who are urging their kids to go to college are the same ones that are contacting me for coaching, for help, saying, I'm stuck in my job. I wish I had something different. I don't even use my degree. I hear these things all the time from corporate professionals at every layer of the corporation. Um, and our kids, they see it too. I talk to teenagers and they will tell us that dad hates his job. Dad feels stuck. I have had teenagers tell us, especially those coming into college that are coming into the university, and they will sit there and say, "I don't want to be like mom and dad. They hate their job. They're miserable at work." Or, there's all these factors of why they don't want to mimic what we are doing. Our kids see it, they feel it, and they're quietly thinking sometimes, or they are public or privately thinking, or outspoken thinking, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. And they are looking out at our society and seeing what's happening, and seeing all kinds of alternatives. Now, they don't know what to do with that and how to process that, maybe, but they see all kinds of opportunities. So let's step back though. Now, the world has changed. So we have options. Your teenagers have options. You even have options that we didn't have before, or they weren't so apparent. We probably always have had them, but they weren't so apparent and they weren't so easy to access. We're living in a culture that the most competitive companies in the world, and I'm thinking Apple, Google, Tesla, IBM, many others, and the list is growing every single day, are saying things like, we don't require a degree. And I don't mean they don't require a degree for janitorial services or things like that. I mean they don't require a degree for developers. They don't require a degree for many of functions. And we see that. We see these, we may think they're radical, the Elon Musk and these people that are talking about that. They seem kind of out there and bizarre and radical. But companies are following suit, because they just see that they see many companies will tell me that the university is not giving them what they want. It's not giving them a better prepared person to go into the workforce. Um, that's, and oftentimes they don't really know what else they're looking for, but we also don't produce enough qualified, talented people to fill the jobs that are out there. So they are hiring. So when we look at these companies, they're hiring people like think about a motivated 17-year-old or 18 or 19, 20, doesn't, the age doesn't really matter. And they go out and they learn to code in 6 months, or they get a cybersecurity certificate, or they may launch a YouTube channel. They may get on LinkedIn and start talking about a subject and develop authority in the subject. They might even start earning money doing something. It doesn't really matter. All without student debt. Think about how impressive those people are to the corporate world who are trying to hire doers, right? In the corporate world, we don't want degrees and diplomas on wall. That doesn't bring in any money. We want doers. We want people who can perform. We want people who can think. And those people who have gone out there and figured out how to make it happen are impressive, right? That they've just made something happen. And we're seeing more and more in that in our society. Me and you, we have the same option. We are not stuck to any degree that we have, or any options, or any things we may not have done. Degrees we have done, degrees we have not done. We just have so many options to just go out there and do things. The world has just changed. The world has given us great opportunity, but college still feels safe, right? College still feels like the thing we should be doing. So let's just think about some real world alternatives to this, though. If we think, if your son or daughter is not interested in college, what might be some of their alternatives? Because it makes a lot of parents nervous. They don't know what to do. And you as a parent feel like you have to figure it out. You probably don't. Matter of fact, you probably cannot figure it out for them. But skill-based tech careers is one thing that we see a lot of people doing these days. Fields like software engineering, data analytics, all the AI stuff, cybersecurity. These are not all engineers and computer scientists doing all this stuff anymore. And many of our employers are saying, well, that you guys are missing the spot in all of those degree fields. There's some deep engineering in some of those things, but most of what we see out in the industry, that's not the case. So these fields are wide open, and people are getting all types of certifications, or they are getting just experience, and some of them are doing it on YouTube for free. Some of them are going to boot camps. Some of them are taking courses on Coursera, things that they're spending small amounts of money on, or no money, and doing it very quickly on their own time. So there's skill-based tech careers, and it's where a lot of people are entering into the door. And you may be thinking, well, that's great, but they're not going to move up the food chain. Not so. That is not the case at all. We see them get into the place. They're working side by side with computer science and engineers and other tech people, and all they got to do is just perform. So we're seeing this in all types of companies here, that there's really no difference. And if you're a person who's spent $50, $60, $70, $100,000 on your degree, and you're sitting next to a person who's spent very little and did it much faster, are probably younger than you entering the workforce, it may be a little upsetting to you, but it's just a fact. They may have chosen a better path for them. We see a lot of them going into also entrepreneurship as which is this. I don't even like that word really, but I'm using it because it's the common word. It just means they just enter into some kind of business activity. Some students aren't wired to work for other people, right? Many of them are not necessarily wired. They're thinkers, they're starters, they're builders. They could work for other people, but they would probably be frustrated to both sides. We teach entrepreneurship course in our program, so we have that offered, and it's really just, again, it's a doer. Somebody who wants to go out there and do something. What do they need to know? They need to know more about just business, sales, marketing. How do you package products and services to somebody? And I'm sorry, we don't do the best job of that in the world at universities. We have business degrees, but they're generally talking about big business and how does big business operate. You have degrees in entrepreneurship, not necessary. It's not a 4-year plan here. Action is the key thing there. So we see a lot of that. As a matter of fact, probably the wealthiest people I know, the most successful, in terms of financial wealth, have no college experience, but they've gone out and been an entrepreneur. So then we have trade and vocational paths. This is what everybody talks about. This is kind of what makes people crazy. Is there's the assumption going on is if you're not going to college, that you're going to go do a trade, and maybe obviously these are high-paying jobs now, and maybe in a lot of ways they're the fastest growing fields. Every kind of trades out there, from welding, plumbing, carpentry. People cannot find that talent. And there are lots of ways that you can learn that talent. A lot of cities, because they're so lacking in trade type skills at all levels, that they're starting to teach people how to do this stuff, because they know we're not doing that at universities. Trade schools, maybe not. Trade schools, I don't even know if they exist in the same way. But nobody's bringing these people out and teaching them practical skills about how to build something, how to fix things, how to be plumbers, welders, electricians, and everything else. But those are wide open. Some of the highest paid jobs out there right now. And they're going to oftentimes out earn your college degrees. Strategic gap years we talk about. I don't like the term gap year. It sounds like I just took off and goofed off. But apprenticeships, there's just so many ways to enter. And this is what gets me is we talk about if you didn't go to college, your only path is trade schools or military or something like that. Military is obviously another option here. But it's just going to work. I mean, imagine if you go to work for some business owner and you just go in as an apprentice, means I'm an employee here just to learn, and you start learning the business. Well, you would start taking. We have friends right now that they are starting to take over sections of business from a successful business owner. He doesn't care. The business owner doesn't care about their undergraduate degrees or things they can or cannot hang on the wall. They care that this person has learned the business. They know how to do the business. They can go create their own division in a different city. They just have unlimited ability to do the type of things that the original owner of the business has done. And some of them will go off and spin off similar businesses in different cities. Some of them will open operations in different cities for the business owner who's looking for managers to take over, looking for people to take over parts of the business, and sometimes to absolutely take over the business. So, and what I wanted you to do though is think about it. This is oftentimes a statement of panic, and when we talk to parents, either they're heading to college and they're proud of that and they're doing that, and so we talked a lot of that because that's what our math is prepping for. But a lot of the parents they get really uptight and worried that they're not creating a path for themselves. And there's just so many. I'm just scratching the surface, right? Because the fact is, the world out there doesn't care about a degree you hang on the wall. They care, what can your students who are workers, what can they do? Will they come in, figure things out, and be able to perform? That's what they care about. There's millions and millions of jobs out there, and there's even no matter what the economy is doing, there's just so many opportunities. What our kids probably do need to learn is how to uncover those opportunities. They're always going to be there. So look, I'm okay if you want to go to college. I'm okay if you don't. I don't care. I'm okay with our sons and daughters go to college or don't. Doesn't matter to me. But it should be a tool. College is an education, and if you spend $100,000 on education, that's great. You should be making a lot of money. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. If you spend zero on it and you get, making money, you probably have a better return on investment. So college is a tool, and we need to look at it that way. Is it going to get me something I want? It's not a trophy. It's not a but that's how we treat it a lot of times. It's a participation trophy, almost. If that's a fit for your son or daughter, great. If that's what they want to do, great. There are some fields that you have to do that. If you're going to do neurosurgery, you probably still have to get a degree, at least today. If you're going to do some types of engineering, you would have to do that. Certainly not all types of engineering. Any type of business, probably not. That's just the fact. You probably don't need it. And many things that we get degrees in, you don't really need it. It's a it when I'm looking at people heading to college, a lot of times they're heading to college because they don't know what to do, and they are hoping the college will help them figure it out, or it's, for lack of a better word, a social/party event. And by the way, if you don't believe that is the case, what we know, number one, is what universities sell on, the reason people come to our campuses, and what we spend a lot of money on, is making the campus a great play place. That's much more important to marketing a university than it is the faculty and what they do. I'm just telling you what the data shows us and what our recruiting teams look at. So I just wanted to give you some thoughts here. This is the question that comes up so much. What if they're not heading to college? And if they are or they're not, it doesn't matter. There's still plenty of money out there. There's still plenty of opportunity for them to serve other people, to have a huge impact, and make an awesome income.